like I said at the end of the last video, I turned my internet off. I reached over and I clicked on whatever you call it, network instead of notifications, and I turned my internet off instead of notifications. Alright, anyways, I'll be right back. I need to go do something. Hey Dragon, you missed my stupidity a minute ago. In my last video, I just turned around and went to go turn my notifications off. And I turned my internet off. Like an idiot. So, yeah. I'm currently working on my British Plains, my 10 out of 10 sexy artwork. Frankly, this is just a joke, but this back here I like. But, you know. Frankly, out of everything, yeah. But frankly, gotta keep saying that, you know, British. Wow, there's a lot of Wellingtons. You know what's interesting? Pretty much every single one of these are the exact same plane. It's just these are a bit faster. Go Britain! I want to get, where is it at? I want to get this, and it's not because it's a great plane. That's probably, I don't even know if it is or isn't. Supposedly it's an alright plane, but not 10 out of 10. I've never seen a video on it, so I couldn't tell you. But because, oh, it's got air targets, yay. Because, there it is. Yeah, you get bombs with this thing. Strike fighter. It can be a strike fighter. And frankly, it's 8.0, which is sad because I can't bring it into a realistic battle with my tanks yet. Don't really care. I want the... What do they call that again? They call that a... the solid wing aircraft, like, the Ho-229. Ho-229. Well, whatever. Let me think this for a second. Give me a second. I'm gonna think about it. Yeah, that's me being quiet. It's not the mic. It's just I'm being very quiet. I got this. And party settings, because there's no other freaking place to do this. It's just microphone level. How is that? Autistically loud or artistically quiet? I'm being quiet because frankly I'm tired and I don't feel like being loud. Oh, what fuck, what do they call that? Give me a second. I gotta Google this. I'm asking what they call this. Delta wing. Delta wing. That's what I'm thinking of. I like delta wing planes. Why couldn't I think of that? I'm tired. I'm genuinely tired. If you can't tell because of how quiet I am I'm out of it. I'm tired. My favorite style fighter is a delta wing, and the British planes, the best we got as a delta wing currently in the game would be the Vampires, but they're not true delta wings because, well, if I go to them real quick, hold on, they have a tail. That's not true delta wing. All this control surface would be on the wing, which I happen to choose the worst of the Venoms, the Sea Venom. If you want to know why, I believe his name was, I think not Mike Goes Boom. I can't think of his name. Did a whole video on it, and I don't feel like talking about that. But I know it's the worst because of, well, pretty obvious stats, and it's NJK or whatever has it. This is a delta wing. This is what they call delta wing. Stuff like the B-2 Spirit and stuff like that. That's a delta wing. But I love delta wings. I just find them very unique, and that they're just an interesting concept and design where it's a solid body. Oh, and then the smallest delta wing here is right here, which is the smallest delta wing pretty much ever. Very simple concept, but very interesting indeed. The British have a jet bomber, which has got some controversy going on in the War Thunder community, which I'm not getting into either, because I don't feel like talking about that. It's the Arvo... I'll get on my phone real quick and look at it real quick. I'll look it up and figure out how to say it. Anyway, so somebody made a creation or whatever, blah blah, and they're questioning whether or not they should add it to the game. The problem is, it's a modern bomber. It's not older. I mean, it is older, but it's modern. It's one of the fastest and high flying out there. Matter of fact, it could outrun a Hunter F1. And if for anyone who plays War Thunder out there, you know the Hunter F1 is one of the fastest jets in the game. So for it to outrun a Hunter and being a giant bomber is pretty controversial. And so, but here's the deal. It's the Avaro Vulcan. Oh, and another thing, it flies at, I don't remember how high of an altitude, which is actually at the highest. It's so high up, simple enough, that the only plane that can fly up to it is the that German Delta Wing. I just forgot the name of the plane now. Anyways, I'm doing arcade right now because I am tired and I do not feel like getting a headache from realistic. Personally, I prefer realistic, but when I'm bored and don't feel like caring and actually, you know, having a stressful time, because you know how realistic it is, you gotta really focus and look for things, I play arcade because why not? But anyway, so it's one of the only planes in the game that can fly at that height. But at that height, it's pretty much useless. All its control surfaces don't really react correctly. It can barely roll. It can't get any lift any higher from there. And yeah. You're a sim player. I actually haven't played very much air sim battles. I actually play realistic mostly. I have a few friends who love it, like Sherman and Garrison. G Twice is his gamer name. See ya. Come on, be an idiot and crash or something. Where am I going next? Where am I going? That way. Yeah, personally though, my favorite, for anyone that wonders, my favorite to play is realistic, and for planes though, I like realistic. It's just a headache for me for some reason. And that's just because I know my tanks better than I know my planes. I look for outlines when I see my tanks. With planes, well, for me they always look the same. I'll look over and be like, oh, that's the same thing as that, but no, it's completely different. So that's what I'm used to. And so it's not that I don't like that, it's just that, frankly, I do better when I play with friends on Realistic 1, and 2, I don't really feel like playing Realistic Shoot. I would even go play Realistic Tanks right now, and I really don't feel like it. I'm tired. There's an HK over here. I call those HKs, I don't know why. Just kind of an accident that kind of became a habit. It's actually an H6K, but became an accident. It's called the HK. Forget the 6. Yeah, I want to take him out. He's got a lot of torpedo power. I remember having him back in Birds of Steel. Which, if you're wondering what Birds of Steel is, for those who don't know, Birds of Steel is an early variant of War Thunder. Matter of fact, it's pretty much the prototype of War Thunder, and I had it. Came out before War Thunder even existed. War Thunder was actually a thought at the time, though. Okay. I only have one gun firing. Jeez. Forget that. I think that was the worst run I've ever seen line up. Somebody clearly used the arcade. I would even line that thing up normally. Ooh, good old. Motors hit. Great. I hate seeing my motor get hit. Ooh. Is it worth it? I can't tell. Well, it's questionable. We'll leave it at that. It's questionable. I kind of want to return to base, though. I don't want to wind up out in the middle of nowhere. But at the same time, I don't really care to, because personal experience, that only ever works in Realistic where you return to base. Normally they see me at the base and they're like, ooh, free kill. And so, yeah. Preferably die. It wouldn't bother me anyways. This John guy was pretty cool. Who joined a minute ago. I think out of all the people I've had in the comment section, he is the nicest. And for once, he's understanding. You know, most people, when they hear I turn around, frankly, I like Realistic. It's just I suck with planes. And when I play, I don't play with my friend G twice and all that. And as you've seen probably before in the past, when we play together, we do pretty good at times. So that's the reason I prefer to play with him. I personally suck by myself when it comes to Realistic battles with planes. But with tanks, I do outdo him. I know all my tanks. It's just tanks are what I do. I play planes mostly to earn silver. And I did not like what I just saw. Get him, Sea Hurricane. I'll save your butt from this guy. He's flying away from me. Oh wow, a J1N. How is that thing? I wonder. It's got those twin turrets on the back, and I always thought that was very interesting. I don't know if it's any good or not, but it's pretty scary to me if you think about it. Twin turrets, geez, just Sounds like hell. It must not be though, because it's such a low tier. This guy's name is Bomber. What are you doing, camera? Work. Yes, thank you. He is hitting my motor like crazy. Like, oh my god, he must have some professional gunners. He ain't got much left in him, but I don't either, so... I don't care. It was worth it. That's the reason I played arcade right there. It's because I'm not trying to care. I just want to have fun. The flying... Who's that? Who's that? Let's go. You know, frankly, I would love to have this guy's seat right here in the back. It looks like such a nice view. I bet it's loud, and so that's probably the only thing that would suck about it. But just like, imagine that. Remove the guns and then go for a flight over, like, I don't even know, London or Paris or something. I mean, that would be a great place. You know, great place to view the world from. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn early Mexicans? I'm bored. Oh, 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 oh. Wait, how far can these guns aim right? Okay, let's get the gun's attention. Wow, that's pretty poor, actually. I thought they could aim vertically right. Look at that, guys. Bombs away. Where do the bombs come from? Oh, wow. That's a long bomb bay. That's the first time I've looked at the bomb bay on that thing. Holy crap. I wasn't actually expecting that. That was fairly nice. I suppose. Middle finger. Cute. Rockets. I am not a great pilot, so I don't have very many jets. If you're wondering the truth, I'm a fairly new pilot on a PlayStation. Back when I used to play a long time ago, I had quite a few planes because I got on here right around the time they had added tanks, and I had most of America. Crap in Germany. I've never liked Germany. I even got back on the other day just to see if I'd like it, and I still don't like it. Japanese planes, and a few Russian. I never really worked with Britain, and for the first time ever, I'm actually working with them. And I love them. Holy crap, I love them. I love them just as much as I love their tanks. And if you're wondering where I'm at in tanks, I am here. And then for Russia, here. And actually here. And for Germany, nowhere. Because I don't like their tanks as much as I don't like their planes. And for America, I just frankly never came back to. I don't know. I just stopped enjoying it. It just seems pretty usual to me. They're from like back when they added them and stuff. I was on a laptop at that time, and I remember playing with these. Playing to, let's see, what all I have. Somewhere in here. Anyways, and frankly, when I came back to play with them, I got to start research here, and I just realized this is no fun. I've played all these before, and then for Japan, here. So, I started out with Russia when I got on the PlayStation, got down to here, really quickly got bored with it because I realized it's all the same thing, just a bunch of one-hit wonders. Literally, one hit and they're dead, but then there's no strategy to it, you just shoot and they're dead. Britain's pretty similar, but no explosives in their rounds, so that means they kind of require you to know where you're shooting, and that's the reason I like them so much, because they kind of take a bit more effort to play. I mean, then again, they're really weakly armored, so you get hit once, then you get tanks like the Vickers MBT, where it's just like, go to here, load some Hessian, and you're done. And it's just a pretty good game. But the thing is with Britain, one thing I've discovered is you spend more silver on these things than you make. So if you want to actually get silver where you play them, you have to have planes. Because, not even joking, this is actually considered to be one of the most expensive tanks in the game to play. To get an idea, let's see. Max repair cost, it says that for arcade battles, right? Well, I play realistic when I play my tanks. And so if I go down here, there it is. 8,000. And this thing isn't even max upgraded yet. I've still got a couple upgrades to go. See? And when this thing's maxed out, it's going to cost still a bit more. So, yeah. It's very difficult to earn silver with British tanks. And that's most countries, if you want to know the truth. But Britain's more special because, well, no explosive fillers. No, I don't feel like squatting up tonight. I'm just going to play by myself for a bit and try to earn some silver and some new planes and then head on. I would, but it's just, I mean, you can add me on here. I'll add you. What time is it? 12:26. Geez, when I started this, it was okay. Huh. Should say an hour since. Flying, I'm guessing you're trying to say Berlin. Shit, I'm flying wherever the crap I want. I'm mostly flying to Japan because, hey, those planes drop out of the sky faster than they climb in. You shoot them down, and by the time you get them all knocked out, they're already back at their airfield. Alright, sorry about that. Let's see. Frankly, though, if you one thing I can't wait to fly out of all the British planes, I mean, everyone's like, Hunter F1, Hunter F1. I mean, yeah, that's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun because it's like one of the fastest in this game, and I love to have really fast planes because I like strafing my friends without them being able to hit me. But none of these. Jets I like, but frankly, I prefer prop. I love prop engines. Even in real life, I love props. One of my favorite planes is a B-36 Peacemaker. And it has 6 engines and then 4 scramjets, if I remember correctly, scramjets on the tips of each wing for assisted takeoff. Personally, out of all these planes you see here, out of every single one of them, I cannot wait to fly the Wellington. And you're probably thinking, well, look at this, you got Lancasters, you got Mosquitoes, you got Spitfires, this and that. Why a Wellington? It goes back to my friends. I like messing with my friends. And what does this thing carry? Well, we go over to here for a moment. Oh, look, 4,000 pounds. And yeah, I know the Lancasters do it, but this is a smaller plane. And my friend is terrible at AA. So if I have a smaller plane and I fly really high in the air, he ain't gonna hit me worth a crap. But if I'm flying a big plane and I'm flying high in the air, he's got a lot better chance. Well, small plane, big bomb, I can annoy the crap out of him. And he drives German tanks, and if I go to German tanks and go to what he has, what he considers to be his favorite AA, the Kugelblitz. He even has the Flak Shepherd. He just doesn't like it. But he likes the Kugelblitz because he says it's interesting. What's your bet he's going to hit me if I'm flying at 10,000 feet in the air, dropping a 4,000-pound bomb on him? Pretty low. I mean, I'm probably going to miss anyways, but it'll give him pretty good fright and it'll be funny. So, yeah. Just nobody tell him. It's NJK. That's who it is. Oh, I want to switch from every single game mode trying to find an arcade. And yeah, I'm flying arcade right now because I am tired and I don't feel like taking the stress of a realistic battle. And if you're wondering why I say stress, I can drive tanks perfectly in realistic. I know every single tank just by silhouette. You can show me a picture of a bunch of blacked out tanks, just the silhouettes, and I can tell you every single one of them. You turn around and you put the same thing in front of me, planes, I'm just like, well, that looks like a Spitfire or a BF-109 or this or that. I'm saying, that's all I know. Seriously, that's all I can tell you. I'm not a plane expert. Worth the crap. I mean, I can tell you certain, like the iconic ones. I can tell you like the Lancaster and the B-29. I mean, shoot, I can tell you a Hunter F1. I mean, that's pretty much iconic shape. Or any, what do you call it, Delta Wing aircraft, because I like Delta Wings. I can tell you a lot of them, especially right down here, the Horton. I can tell you a Horton, I can tell you an ME-163, but you know what? That's a Delta Wing, and I like Delta Wings, so I know a lot about them. But I can't tell you, what, a Sabre looks like. I mean, I can give you a kind of a crappy image. It looks like something from Vietnam. It looks like something from Vietnam. That's pretty good imagery, I guess. Yeah, just one of those planes you see in the videos get shot down. Yeah, there you go. I'm helpful. I'm a amazing ace. Yes, 10 out of 10. No, I'm not. I'm terrible. I don't know my planes with the crap. I know my tanks. I know even tanks that aren't even in War Thunder. I know tanks from frickin' days. I can tell you this, War Thunder, when they did those Centurions, if you're wondering why I don't have like a Mark 5 or something like that, they only have the Mark 1, 10, or 3, and 10, and that's because that's the major change variants. All the others are like little bitty microscopic changes that have no influence on the tank whatsoever. Like some changed out coaxials, others added coaxials to machine guns. Like the Mark 5 had 2 machine guns, if you want to know the truth. It had, well, it was planned to, and then turned around and didn't. Then there's a, I hate you. You know what's so stupid? Freaking 50s. I can get strafed by just about any plane in this game. And 20 mils. I've been strafed that same way by a BF-110 and still didn't get that much damage. It's those American 50s that they buffed up. Anyways, so what was I talking about? Oh yes, I was talking about there's I think it's the Mark III long range, Mark V long range is what it's called, and literally it adds a 50-gallon tank, if I remember, 50 gallons to the, I think it's 50 gallons, I don't remember. Anyways, it's a huge tank onto the back of the tank, and that was for, I believe Sweden used it, and that was for like long distance fighting and stuff, because the idea was they threw out all the books and everything that they had about how to make tanks, because instead of it making it where it had to be able to fit on train cars, it had to do this, it had to do that, they upped the turret ring size by 3 inches, which it was like 78 to 82. Yeah, it was something like that. Anyway, they only upped it like a micro amount. It was like 72 and a half, if I remember correctly, or 78 and a half, if I remember correctly, was the original size. You're probably thinking 3 inches, that isn't a lot. It really was a lot. The entire crew had so much more room. Even, what's his face, the guy from Chieftain's Hatch, or whatever, he even agrees that that was probably the best improvement they did on those tanks, was the amount of crew room it gave them. And then another thing they did was, they made the tanks wider and longer, which meant they couldn't ride on rails no more, but it did help the tanks tremendously when it came to mobility, because it allowed for a bigger motor, it allowed for more, like I said, a bigger turret ring, and then the biggest thing of all, was it so that it allowed for the number one principle of tank making. The longer the tank, the wider it needs to be. Well, if you make it too wide, it couldn't fit on rails. But if you remove that concept of rails out of the way, then it doesn't matter. So it allowed it to be that perfect width, allowing it to be able... It didn't pop up on my screen. I thought I didn't get the kill at first. Oh, that's scary. Get out of my way. But anyway, so it allowed it to be better off at driving and turning and such. So it's kind of interesting. That thing was designed and built in 1945, just right after post-World War II, right? So throughout the entire war, they had some terrible designs when it came to tanks. I mean, there were some good ones here and there, but most of them always had problems here and there. And then out of nowhere, as soon as the war ends, they come out with what is arguably to be one of the best tanks designed in the entire Cold War. That's the Centurion. And it's pretty great how it's pretty amazing how that just from throwing the original design books out and coming up with a whole new system allowed them to do this. Oh, and another thing, a lot of tanks of that period still nowadays have two gun sights. There's your main gun sight, and then there's a backup gun sight, just in case the main one gets knocked out or blocked. And I hear a plane. Oh. I told you I was a sucky pilot. But anyway, so the Centurion did not have that. It only had one gun sight, and that gun sight wasn't even for the cannon. It was for the machine gun, the coaxial machine gun. And so what you do was, when you'd aim the machine gun towards the target, which was early tiers did not have this. It was mostly like, I can tell you up the Mark 5 definitely had it. Mark 3 I know had it, but I don't remember what all variants did. But anyway, so what you do was, your 50 cal, which would be mounted coaxially to your gun, there's a 50 and then the 30 cal. The 30 cal was for infantry. The 50 cal was loaded with high explosive tracer ammunition. So that way you'd aim down range at your target, you'd fire your machine gun until your round hit, and then you would see where that distance was on the gauge there in the sights. And then you'd reach over to a dial to the left of this, and you would zero the calculation in on this dial. And that zeroing in would range your gun in from using machine gun. So there was no actual sight on the gun. There was a machine gun sight that allowed you to figure the range of the target, then you dial in the gun from the machine gun. Very interesting concept. In my opinion, pretty dumb, but it didn't allow you to view the target very well. But at the same time, it's understandable in concept. And it worked. And the Mark 1, I know for a fact, did not have this as far as I know, because the coaxial was actually separate from the cannon. It was there. It was mounted in the turret facing forward. But it was in its own ball mount to the left of the gun. And I can even show you this because I have the Mark 1. Frankly, though, if you're wondering, another big advantage of why when they upped the turret ring, it allowed for the full-size, full-power 12-pounder. If you're wondering what I mean by that, the Firefly only had a half-powered version of the 12-pounder, so it was not as powerful as the full-power one. It didn't allow for its full cartridge of ammunition, its full length and everything. But as soon as they upped the turret ring size, it gave the turret more space to put the gun. And so if you look at the first variant all the way up to Mark 3, where they changed the gun out and everything, they had the upsize, the bigger version of the 12-pounder. And then when they came out with the Mark 3, they realized the 12-pounder wasn't going to be enough anymore, and they upped the gun up because NATO also requested it to the 20-pounder. And then for a while there, they kept the 20 pounder. They kind of changed modifications here. They're like changing out coaxial stuff. That's where the Mark 5 and stuff come in. There's a Mark 5 1L and stuff, like different variants there and stuff. Mostly made in Sweden, actually, if you don't know the truth, because as far as that tank goes, it's one of the most exported for at that time. It was very heavily exported, even though it was used in the British military. And then what they turned around and did was they took it when they came out with the Mark. I don't remember what variant it was actually. The Mark 10 was like when they had all of them in. I don't remember which one it was though. But anyways, NATO came in and they stepped in and said, NATO had came up with the L7 at that time. The L7 gun was pretty much one of the best and still is the best today. Actually, US M1 Abrams has it still. The German Leopard 2. A higher up variant, not the same variant that was used on the Centurion Mark 10, but anyways, so they turned around and NATO stepped in and said, we need a universal gun. So they came up with the L7, the Germans did. And the Germans built them, East Germany did, not West. Well, I'm so tired, I can't even think of different things. And so it was the L7. Anyway, so NATO said let's put these on all their tanks. Britain agreed and turned around and changed a few parts out and mounted the L7 on the Centurion, which was pretty much the last time on the Centurions, and actually even the Chieftain, for a long while up until I think they even came. I think it was all the way up until about I don't remember the year actually they came out with the Challenger 2. But anyways, it was all up to I think even the Challenger 2. That was the last time a main battle tank, well, a British main battle tank series, actually had a British gun. The rest are all the NATO's L7, which was originally based in Germany. And then another interesting thing about the Centurion, by far it is the most sexy tank. Get off my tail, you ugly piece of trash. Anyways, it's by far one of the most sexy tanks, in my personal opinion, to ever come off a British factory. As far as you want to kill me, I'll let you kill me right after I do this. Thank you. Yay! Yeah, you're pretty confused about that one, weren't you? I really don't know what I just did there, but it worked. I'm dying now, so it ain't gonna work for long. Alright, well. Oh, I lost my fire. Well, 9/11 it. 9/11 it. 9/11 it. 9/11 it. Oh. But no, that didn't work. I do not want to fly this plane out at all. I genuinely do not want to fly the Blenheim out. Like, I forgot I brought it with. I have a very simple solution to this. Build up as much speed as possible, and you see those little red dots there? Well, there's one there on the aircraft. Oh, never mind. Yay! I was going to leave the plane just in the middle of that. But anyways, I'm going to show you what I mean by the Centurion Mark 1 having a separate coaxial. So I know it had a main gun sight. I don't remember what they had on the Mark 10 because, well, frankly, I haven't read very much on it. I've read a few things here and there, not documents. Documents would be the actual fucking papers. I don't have fucking papers. But anyways, but a few things here and there. Alright, we're gonna back out. That was a pretty good game. I mean, we lost, but all that, it was worth it. It was fun. That's what War Thunder's about. See, people who play War Thunder, even me at times, I need to learn, War Thunder is not a game for winning. War Thunder is a game for fun and to enjoy yourself while you play some historical vehicles. See, okay, here you go. So, I can prove this to you what I was talking about. The 76, which is actually, it says 76.4 if I remember correctly in reality. But anyways, they say it's 76. It's the 17 pounder. Or 17, why did I say 12 pounder a minute ago? I feel like an idiot. 12 pounder. Anyways, it's the 17-pounder from the Firefly. But it's a real version. The Firefly, pretty much they had the 17-pounder they would have mounted in a field gun situation. If you don't know what a field gun is, it's simple enough. A gun, there's direct fire and indirect guns. There's actually another one in between there that I cannot think of the name of, where it's a mixture of those, and those are actually howitzers. Howitzers. There's mortars, howitzers, and gun. Yeah, gun. And those are all names that they came up during World War I. So a gun, if you're wondering why they call it's gun, and that's what simple enough what you could call a tank destroyer. It's gun. It doesn't fire vertically. It fires in a straight line, and the only vertical it gets is to elevate its gun enough to arc it to hit the target from distance. Mortar is lob shells up and over walls and lands into the fortification. That's simple enough, the simple description. And howitzer, I think it's howitzer is what they call it. It's pretty much an artillery. It's what you think of artillery, where it fires up and over, but it also has the ability to go into gun mode. Trust me, this is something, it's complicated, it takes a lot of time to explain, and I frankly do not have the time right now to explain it, because it is 12:45 in the morning. Well, anyways, if you really want me to explain it, frankly, I could come up with a video and find the time to, and I would probably spend a whole day trying to explain it. You'd be watching for hours. If you really want to learn about things like that, go on and watch people like David Fletcher, not the U.S. History. U.S. History Channel has turned to fucking idiots talking about aliens and crap. Frankly, I could care less about that. I want to learn, like, Battle of the Bulge and stuff, not aliens landed in Colorado. Oh, I don't care about that. I want Battle of the Bulge, Advance to the Rhine. I want things like that. Kursk. Or even, even World War I things like the gas. I want to learn things about how different battles that were heavily infected with gas and stuff. Because I think gas is interesting, but because I've never actually seen any show directly target the idea of gas. Normally they're like, oh yeah, gas was used a little bit, and then they'll go right back to talking about the actual battle that took place afterwards. Tell us about what happened. Like for instance, there's actually a battle that took place during World War I it's a nickname for the battle. I can't think of the actual name of the battle. It's a hook between the Russians and the Germans, and they nicknamed it the Battle of the Living Dead. And it's a very interesting battle, and I've read not actual documents, but 2 books that had it, and had copies of the document in the book. Anyway, so what happened was, we'll describe the simple story. The Germans wanted a Russian fort really bad, like to the point where this could be a pretty good tiebreaker for the Russian front. So the Germans' idea was to do what they did the whole time throughout the war, was artillery the hell out of it, gas the hell out of it, push in and take it. Well, they thought, the Russians are tough. We've noticed this so far, which is very true. They've always been tough, and that's one of the reasons I kind of have a respect for the Russians, because despite the fact that they are people, they are not scared of death. Matter of fact, their entire life, they are not scared of death. There are people I've talked to from Russia, and I've seen videos and seen tons of things about them, where they could watch their friend die and they will feel bad, but they're okay with it. It's death. They're not scared of death. I mean, there are the human side of them that, if you get shot at, they're going to back away and hide, because frankly, it's a bullet, you don't want to get shot. But they're not scared of death. It's pretty crazy. Russians are crazy. Anyways, and then they're pressured this, because even in the Russian military, they're pretty much forced to not think there being death, or to not fear it. That's kind of an interesting thing. Long story, how I found all that out. Simple enough. It actually started out with a YouTube video talking about a guy who climbed a crane and watched his friend fall off, and You know, he was so used to the concept of death or whatever, right? So that's where all that came from. Anyways, so what happened was with this fort, the Germans wanted this fort, and they wanted artillery and stuff. So what they turned around and did was they set up separate divisions of artillery guns hitting this fort. And I don't have to Google it here in a moment to remember the name of the fort. But anyway, so what they did was they gassed it. They gassed this thing for a solid, I think, 1 to 2 weeks straight. Mustard gas, tear gas, just pretty much anything they could throw at the fucking thing, they threw at it. High explosive shells, pretty much anything that they could throw at it, they threw at it. And by the end of this week to 2 weeks, they just sat there and thought, I think it was 1 to 2 weeks. It probably was longer. It was a really long period of time. I freaking wouldn't be surprised. But anyways, by the time this was done, they sent some infantry in, and they said, well, they even told the infantry this. They said, well, by the likelihood of them being alive after all that is pretty much little to none. So be careful, but don't worry, there's most likely no one alive there, and if there is, they're so battered that they're not going to fight, they're going to surrender. That's what the German troops even suspected, because of hearing what happened, they pretty much suspected. So the German troops marched towards the fort and got pretty close. I think they were within 100 yards of it, for one book I read about it. So they got there, and they pretty much weren't expecting crap, I mean, I wouldn't either after hearing all what happened. And they get close, and they hear screaming, and unexpectedly think it's a dying soldier. No, here comes tons of Russian soldiers. I mean, their body parts are falling apart. Their arms, you can see bones hanging out of their arms, is what some of the German soldiers described. They're just falling apart from the mustard gas. If you don't know what mustard gas does, it pretty much just tears you up. Any piece of skin that you're exposed, I literally haven't. This is something I need to probably read up a bit more on, because frankly I don't know the full effects of mustard gas, but I do know it just tears your body apart. It really does. It's just severely, it dry your skin out and causes it to fall off. Like, it's that bad. But anyway, so they pushed in, and there's just Russian soldiers are charging them with their body parts falling apart, because the Russian soldiers were just determined to hold this fort, and they were not scared to die to do it. They wanted to hold this fort because it was, for the motherland. So they charged over the Germans, and the Germans they see this coming at them, and they panic. They don't know where to shoot, charge back, or do what. So most of the German soldiers panic, fire a few shots, drop their guns, and some don't drop their guns, and they just run. They run away from the fort. And it's one of those situations where most of the documented reports of the actual battle come from German soldiers who witnessed it. And I think there's even a drawing somewhere out there a German soldier made of what he saw, but I'm not 100%. I'm going to look the name of that fort up. But anyway, so the Germans were just, I wouldn't even, you stick me out there and you see a bunch of Russian soldiers that you expect to be dead, but then they look dead when they're coming at you. I would look like Stewie Griffin when Lois forgot to change them. Seriously, that would be bad. I would not have fun with that. Let's see. World War I, Battle of Dead. Right there. Battle of the Living Dead. Let's see. Attack of the Dead Man, 1915. Let's see, I gotta... Okay, here it is. I don't even know how to say that. I have no idea how to say that. Holy crap. It's Poland where it took place. Of course, Poland. Because when is it not Poland that shit happens bad? I mean, Auschwitz. How... I'm gonna figure out how to say this. I can't even... How to... This is actually really interesting because I've no idea how to say this. How to pronounce Oswesh? Play that.
Soviet.
Well, you're gonna have to listen to this because frankly I can't even say what he just said.
Soviet.
Soviet. Or anyway,
Soviet.
but anyways, it's spelled Osowiec. And it's a real battle. It's very, very interesting to me. The fact that they call it's like the Battle of Living Dead or whatever, where Russian soldiers charge Germans practically dead. Frankly, I don't even think I'd have the courage at that point, because not the courage, but the willpower to see people like that and still have the nerve to charge German force. But they were determined, and it's pretty interesting. You know, is that supposed to be a window? Probably. Well, hold on. Let me think. Let me look at the back. You know what? Now think about it. Where's the Bombay X-ray? It doesn't show the bomb, so I can't figure out how tall Bombay is. Anyways, I was seeing if that was what I think, because I know on the B-36 they have a tunnel. There's an actual physical pipe tunnel that runs from the tail compartment to the front compartment, the pilots and stuff. And yeah. Oh, I forgot I was going to show you those tanks earlier. Like, I don't have the Mark III yet. I literally, it's like my most favorite tank right here, and I don't even have it yet. It's kind of sad. I'm doing a Carnarvon because it's an XP building tank. If I choose a crew, cancel that. I want to actually go to my army, because this is where I put it. I'll show you what I was talking about a minute ago with how this does not have that same gunnery system as the Mark V and III and stuff do. They're 20-pounder. Anyways, so here you go. So this thing has its own coaxial. It's a ball mount instead of it being an actual mount with a gun. So this actually has a gunner sight, which is right here. I think. Let me think. Oh, no, it's right there. I'm thinking of this, where the gunner sight is here. Oh, and interesting fact, on most typical British tanks, because here's the loader has actually a view outside the tank for once. This right here is on a ball mount, so it can spin around and it can even slightly aim up and down. The gunner has no such thing. Nothing. It literally has a gun sight, and that's all he has to look out of. Nothing. He's stuck in a little confined compartment. And for what I saw for the Chieftain Mark III down here, I've seen the interior of one. I would feel bad for that gunner because holy crap, he's down low. Shoot. Hey, I'm tired too, man. I feel like playing though. I don't feel like getting off. Oh, and this is what I mean. Let's see if I go X-ray. See, it only has the one coaxial, which is right here. Which, you know, you can see is the Besa, the 7.9, which actually they replaced, if I remember correctly. They replaced it. But anyways, so there was an in-between variant in between the Mark 10 and the Mark 5, and what they did was, right beside the Besa, they put a 50 cal, and that was your sight, your ranging sight. But on this one now, they still do this, but with the Besa. The gunner has no actual gun sight. Yes, that would be your gun sight right here, which leads up to here. But it's not for the gun. No, it's for the coaxial. What you do is, you fire your coaxial, which will... Yeah, I love British tanks, dude. Actually, you're looking at my favorite tank in the whole world right here, in real life. This is actually my favorite tank, the Centurion Mark III. But what they do is, they would fire the coaxial machine gun and range it in with that, and then to, I'm just going to go and x-ray it because I can point out where it is, pretty much right about above this horizontal drive. There would be a little box there, and what you do is it would have a dial, and on one side it shows your machine gun's range, which is in the scope too, so that means you knew your machine gun's range, and then beside it you would have your actual tank range, your gun range. And so what you do is you dial your gun in to your target, and then you'd fire, and you'd hope that your gun would actually hit your target, which would be told to you by your commander, which was the only one who had a view outside the tank besides the driver and the loader. So, oh, and another question I've always had and I've never been able to get an answer, and if you guys know the answer, tell me. Why does the loader get the double hatch? I mean, on Centurions, the driver gets 2 hatches. I researched the first, let's see, the first Churchill thinking I finally had, yeah. Trust me, I know how you feel about that. Pretty much, Churchills are great tanks. The only problem is with it, in order to make the game fair, Churchills have so much armor for their time that they have to actually up-tier them past what they originally faced. So, like, these are higher than what they originally faced. When you get these 2 down-tiered, they play great. But when they're up-tiered, they're pretty much useless, or even when they're mid-tiered. Same thing with the Mark I. The Mark I, when it was first built, was actually amazing. But the thing is, that War Thunder actually has it wrong. In real life, these were not classified as heavy tanks. Even the 3-inch gun carrier was not classed as an anti-tank weapon. Every single one of these tanks here were either infantry tanks or cavalry tanks. So these are cavalry tanks. These were designed to either originally they started out designed to keep up with cavalry, but soon replace the cavalry. And very smart thing, because the British government needed to stop wasting their money on tanks that couldn't keep up with horses. You know what I mean by that? The Valentine Mark I infantry tank, original variants, the first idea of it was a cavalry tank. What's its top speed? Somebody go ahead and look over here on the right hand side. 16.6 miles per hour. Yeah, I know, trust me, I'm a tank expert. I'm like David Fletcher when it comes to this crap. Cromwell's cavalry tanks, one of the few cavalry tanks the British built that could actually keep up with cavalry. They can go 36 miles per hour. Matter of fact, there's a book, not sure the name of, Lindy Beige, if you ever, anyone watches him on YouTube, he talked about the Cromwells. And literally there's a story, it's a real story, it's a book based on a real story, and what happened was a Cromwell 5 jumped, I think it was a 75-foot gap across a canal and landed on the opposite bank. Like, these things, I mean, they were fast. They were fast for their time. And by the way, the joke about British tanks' reverse speed even goes to real life. Everyone from David Fletcher to the leader, what's my favorite Cromwell? Mark V. Cromwell 1, I like it, but frankly, it just seems the gun just never felt as fun to me as the Mark V. Even when I had the Mark I, I actually would go back to the Mark V more often. Same thing with Russia, actually. With, where is it at? The T-20, the T-50. I like the T-50, but never really enjoyed it as much as I loved running around with the BT-7. So I actually would go back and play with my BT-7. The one tanks I never liked in Russia and still don't like, T-60, T-70, T-80, the ASU wasn't in the game yet, and the PT-76 actually wasn't in the game yet, too. I actually haven't even played a match with the ASU since I unlocked it. I've crewed it, and that's about it. PT-76, though, as soon as they added it, I went straight for it, said, I gotta have this thing. And I remember when I first added it, oh my god. And it's kind of funny, I don't have crap in Russia, and that's because, frankly, at that time, I rarely got on at that point. This shell was like the most OP thing they had ever added to the game. Legit, this was the ATGM of early War Thunder. And when I mean that, the sights were so compacted, they were actually as wide as this X from top to bottom. That's how compacted the sights were. They actually had to make them less accurate because of how OP they were. You could literally nail targets from across the map with just point and click. You just make sure the black was over the target, point and click. It was that easy. It was so much fun. By the way, if you're wondering what my favorite tank I've played so far in Britain, because I know you probably know that, out of every single one of these tanks I've played, you're going to laugh at me, the Black Prince. And that's because everyone's favorite tank. This thing is the best thing I've ever played, and it's because my internet's being retarded again. It does that occasionally. Well, anyways, it's 104. I might as well get off. Okay, hey, Game of War. I'm fixing to get off, so can you do me a favor and subscribe, because I can tell you're an awesome player. And if you ever get on my stream again and it's like middle of the day and you want to play, sure, why not? Just text me or text it in comments. Well, I'm ending the stream because I am tired right now and like really tired. So peace out and have a good night. Oh, and game, if you ever do get on, I'm most likely playing. Okay, if you ever do get on, the one person you'll have to meet, because he actually is starting to play Britain too, and he's actually where you are, down here, and he's just started researching. I think he's just got the Firefly, and he's researching stuff like this down here too, just now, so he's right around where you are. Hold on, let me open my thing real quick. No, contacts. Okay, let's go down. Right here. G twice. Because he's right where you are. And then, let's see. Hold on. Let's see if I can find him real quick. I gotta find the reason why I started playing British tanks. Right here, Ghost Boy. He has every single one of them. And I remember one time I faced him with a PT-76 and his... Where is it? Right here, Tortoise. I don't know why I'm so tired. I don't remember what the Tortoise is. Anyways, and... when I saw that thing, I thought, I gotta get British tanks. I got to. So, yeah. British tanks for the win. Greatest tanks, I think, in the game. Personal opinion. Where you want to debate, that's your problem. I'm not going to debate with you. Alright, well, see you later. Have a nice night.